Hello, hang on, I've just remembered something. I brought my earbuds out today because I've been trying to sort the house out because it's an absolute shambles. And so I thought I would try these and hopefully it will make the sound better. I think they're working. Um, Let me just have a look. And apparently they're working. So turn the volume up for you guys. Hopefully it's not too loud now. Okay, this was not a planned video, as you probably know already. The problem with these earbuds, I've just realised, you'll probably hear every little sip I take of my coffee, which isn't fabulous. So today I thought, I don't know whether to wait a bit longer because usually when I start these videos I get a fair way in and all these people hop on and ask me what's going on. But we're out here now, so I think it's probably time to get started. I've brought out a pair of glasses. These aren't mine. I've broken mine actually, and I still haven't been to the optometrist to get another pair. I just haven't made the time. So these, my dad had surgery on his eyes a while ago. I can't remember what it was he had done. Might have had cataract, but he also had astigmatism and astigmatism. And the surgeon um, fixed his eyes, so he doesn't need glasses anymore. He's not close to his 80s, and for the first time in his life, he hasn't worn glasses. So he's given me, these are just the magnifying pair. They're a bit stronger than mine, but it definitely helps me see what I'm doing, especially when I'm stitching. Now, I really hope my sipping and swallowing of that coffee isn't too loud. I've got a heap of things out to show you guys today. I'm going to show you the needle books I've been working on, but I thought I'd show you some of my handkerchief collection. Don't think I've shown that yet, and I've got it in an old vintage cutlery box. I actually bought this one. I was going to strip it all out. In fact, I think my dad's already stripped the bottom out. I was going to strip it all out and turn it into a sewing box for my mum, and still haven't got around to it. So while it's been sitting here, I've put all my handkerchiefs in it. I don't think they're all in here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to find some when I'm tidying up again. But I thought I'd just show you some. I don't have the most amazing ones. I've seen some online that are amazing. I love this one. I think this one's cotton. But look at that cross stitch. It's so fine. Well, I've seen finer, but actually it's not cross stitch. It's just, you know, when you do the cross stitch and you lay your first direction down and you come back, it's just the one direction. I don't know what that's called. And of course it's got this pulled thread work down here with oh, I can't remember what that's called. Geez, I'm having a good one today. It does have a stain on it. I haven't washed this one. I usually soak them. I haven't done them all yet. These ones are nice. I've come across, they're obviously not overly old, and they are machine stitched by the look. Don't know what happened then. It just dropped out. Apologies. That was frustrating, wasn't it? So anyway, it looks like it's restarted. So it told me it was going to continue, but the timer up here is restarted. So anyway, Apologies if you've seen these already, but if you just hopped on, I'm going to show you where I'm up to with some of my needlebooks. But first, I thought I'd share some of my handkerchiefs I've collected over the years. I believe this one's cotton. It's quite fine. I've seen fine a bit, and it's hand stitched. And I thought this was cross stitch. Hello, Jude. They are. Um, thank you. The fires are under control as far as I'm aware. We haven't had. I was supposed to go to maintenance last night and I couldn't get there to do maintenance on the trucks and at the station. I was a bit bummed about that. And I think our last call out was for an MVA. We've had a lot of car rollovers, especially coming off the freeway. Just before Christmas, there was a truck full of gravel that rolled over, and the bloke driving, he was safe, he was okay, but he had a lot of gravel off his arm. Apparently, I didn't get to that one. But we've got this corner where you come on and off the M1 near the crematorium. Sometimes it'll happen daily. Sometimes we get multiples a day, but there are so many accidents, especially on the. Um, oh, it's dreadful. The videos I've seen coming out of Victoria are horrendous as well. We were actually asked to fly down to Victoria to assist, and I couldn't get to that one either. But that would have been a good job to go to. Not a good job, but it would have been a good experience. And then the poor people in Victoria, a week later, they're dealing with flooding. It's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, I thought I'd show you some of my hanky collection before I get into the needle books I've been working on. I'm supposed to be inside tidying up. I've got linens all over the lounge room, all over the dining room, even on the breakfast bar and the sideboard. It's an absolute shambles, and I really have to get that sorted. But I needed to take some time out, so I thought I'd come out here and do this video. This is the only way I can seem to stop and not be in there going crazy trying to organise stuff. But in saying that, after I do these videos, I get quite exhausted as well. But anyway, back to this beautiful hand-stitched handkerchief. I don't think it's overly old. Again, these are only recent finds, these ones on top, I believe. These are machine stitched by the looks, but they're still sweet. A lot of these, I used to collect the vintage handkerchiefs because my grandmother gave me some years ago. And she used to have this timber box. I don't know what happened to it. This little timber jewel box, maybe about this wide and this high. And she used to keep her handkerchiefs in there. Don't know where it went, but I got some of the handkerchiefs from it. And that's where my vintage handkerchief collection started. This is a linen one, but it doesn't have the prettiest of laces on it. It's a bit of a heavy lace, and then I don't like that synthetic lace. It seems wasteful to me to have this beautiful Irish linen handkerchief and then this silly, cheapy acrylic lace on it. Another linen one. Sorry, thought I heard something beside me. I don't know what it is. I've got, if you've just hopped on, I've put my earbuds in today. Has that made the sound better, Jude? I was hoping that putting the earbuds in you'd be able to hear me better. But then I'm afraid you'll hear me swallowing every little bit of coffee I swallow. So this is a cotton one, machine stitched, but it's still quite sweet. I'm getting so distracted again today. Another cotton one with a hand crocheted edge. I started going looking for these again to use in needle books. I quite like this one. I don't know. I thought I'd soaked all these, but looking at these, see the marks. I'm sure I have. I don't usually go in the box until they've been soaked. Okay. Does it need to be louder, Jude? I've turned the volume up on the phone. I don't know how to turn it up on the earbuds. Okay, let's see if I can turn it up again. No, it looks like I'm at maximum volume, so I'll try and raise my voice a bit more. Yeah, so there's a little cotton one. Another, this feels like cotton, but it's hand stitched. Okay, Jude, thank you. I love this one. I used to hate these. I reckon this is, I want to say 50s. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? It's just cotton, but isn't it a beautiful print? Now that one's only a recent acquisition. That would have been not long before Christmas. I haven't been out since Christmas. The week before Christmas, I went out. I go and usually do the rounds on a Sunday and catch up with friends who own shops. But the last time I went out was when I had that first episode where I thought I was having a stroke. This is a handkerchief from Japan, obviously. I love how it's folded. Look how much it was. Yeah, so I haven't been back out yet. I think it gave me, I was in and out of hospital for days and still don't exactly know what's happened. Pretty little cotton one, machine embroidered, hand crocheted edge. It's a bit of a heavy lace edge, that one. I've found a new way to get some of these stains out too, so I might have to give them another go. Look, there's colour run on that one. That's a shame. That's a machine stitched one. This is just a cotton one with a hand crocheted lace edge. This is a lovely soft crochet. I'm a tight crocheter, so it often feels stiff and heavy. This is nice and soft and relaxed. This is one I bought for, I really like this one. I do collect some men's handkerchiefs for a man I know who collects them. This is a beautiful Irish linen. A friend of mine gave me a bag full of these vintage Irish linen handkerchiefs. So I've started crocheting some. There's some more men's ones I've been collecting. I think these two actually came from my uncle's packet of. I had these when I was at school. The same pattern. So I reckon they're potentially 80s, 90s. Those ones. Another linen one. I'm not going to go through all of them today, guys, because I think there's over 200 and something in here. Beautiful linen with a hand crocheted edge, and again, you can see this is a really heavy edge on that one. Another linen one. This one's actually, this one's really heavy. This one was sold as a handkerchief, but I think it's actually a napkin. It's quite heavy. This is the same. I reckon this is a napkin. Oh wow, silk and cashmere fabric. That would be amazing. I don't think I've seen cashmere for years. This one's pretty, just a cotton one, but look at this. Not my favourite kind of lace, but it is pretty. And the cotton's quite heavy on that one. Another little machine embroidered one. A lot of these have got marks on them. This is another pretty one. Again, I think I've already mentioned, I used to hate these ones with the images, but I've fallen in love with them lately. Look at that. I really like that one. I don't often come across them with images like these, like the ones I've shown you. Another little machine embroidered one. Linen, this is a pretty linen one. I don't think it's very old, but look at that. That's hand embroidered, a bit chunky compared to all this fine pulled threadwork. And then look at the hand woven needle lace in there. It's very pretty, that one. It's quite lightweight, that one. Another linen one. These ones, see these ones with the perforations around here? I always want to crochet something into those. This is a pretty check, cotton check. Now these are really cute. I don't normally buy these, but I ended up buying all the ones that were there, and I'm not sure why, but Check it out. I think they're quite old, like probably 50s, 60s maybe. Maybe up into the 70s, but so that one. There is one double. Which one is it? Oh, I can see. This one. I don't think these children's ones have ever been used. They feel very crisp and now this one I've got a double of. Is it this one? I don't know. I can't remember now. It's not there. Come on, come open. Bit cute. That one reminds me of Smokey the Bear. It's not him, but it reminds me of Smokey the Bear. This one was unusual. I haven't seen one like this before. Isn't that pretty? It's sort of lacy, but it's a print. It's almost like Devore. And it's quite light. I don't think it's linen. Fairly certain it's not linen, but I don't think it's cotton either. That's just another little pretty print. This one's pretty. Uh, I haven't got to that yet, Jude. That's actually something I need to do, and I'm hoping to do that um, as I'm sorting through this stuff again at the moment. My ex-mother-in-law used to put lavender in all of hers and all of her wool as well. And now that I'm going through some of her wool, I'm finding lavender flowers all through it. I used to use cedar balls. My uncle had bags of cedar, just cedar balls. But over the years, they've sort of disappeared. I do need to work out a better. You're going to irk at this. I used to use naphthalene flakes. I used to put them in everything. But you can't get them anymore. They're very illegal in this country. I have found some. Some of the cheap shops, the Asian ones, I found will sell balls or bags of them. I do still have a small amount in a plastic jar I've had for 30, 40 years. And every now and then I sprinkle it in my wardrobe because I've got a lot of vintage wool blankets stored in there. But a lot of the stuff at the moment I've got stored in plastic crates and I don't have anything in there with it. But I need to relook at that because they tea tree oil. Ah, thanks, Jude, and rosemary. I've got a rosemary plant here. Actually, my good rosemary died recently, but I've got rosemary. Never thought of rosemary. Um, I need to do something. So when you use the oil, Jude, do you actually put the oil on the textiles, or do you? It would oil stain it, wouldn't it? Dry it first. So what are you actually drying? Oh, the plant, the herbs. Okay. So no, didn't you say oil? Oh, where is it? Where have they gone? I'm trying to see. Okay. Come on, let me access those comments again. Oh, crying out loud. Where are they? Tea tree oil. So do you actually use tea tree plant and dry it out? Is that what you're telling me? Because she's written tea tree oil, dry it out. Ah, okay. So Jude's saying to use tea tree oil on lavender and double wrap it in a cloth. Um, oh, where it won't let me use it on. Use the tea tree oil on the lavender. Use them together. The oil is wrapped in a double cotton bag. You can use the tea tree plant. Okay. That's good. Thank you. I'll add that. I'll try and remember to add that to the description when the video's uploaded. I've actually got a lemon scented tea tree here, so maybe I could use that as well. Okay, thanks, Jude. That's very helpful. So let's just have a look at a couple more of these hankies because, as I said, we're not going to go through all of them. There's a pretty pansy one. Beautiful. This is another pretty one of these anemones. That's a pretty one. I'd love to make a curtain or something out of some of these. Another little. Now this one's one. This is one of my favourites. There's that other double one I was talking about. This one's one of my favourites. I need to keep this one. He's a fireman. I like that one. It's very vintage, isn't it? Again, I don't think that one's ever been used. Oh, crikey, I folded it the wrong way. Don't you hate that? So I remember the old paper maps. I'd pull them open and then spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to fold them back up how they were. And if you'd had them for years, the folds sort of went, you lost that which way they actually folded, so they could go nearly any way, so they ended up getting in a dreadful mess. This is a, any oil needs to be used sparingly if using for linen storage. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, thank you. There's two silk handkerchiefs in here. They are so soft and amazing. $2 for two of them. And then this silk one, look at this silk one. Isn't it amazing? I love that one. 50 cents. Thai silk. Oh my goodness. Another linen. Beautiful Irish linen. This one's pretty. This is one I wanted to show you. It's a linen one. Imagine it could have potentially been a bridal hanky. It hasn't been used. It does have marks on it. And I'm tempted to do a crocheted edge around that one. It just takes me so long to do them. Another linen one. These Chinese ones. What's it say? Hand embroidery. Well, yeah, I knew they were hand embroidered. There's a pack of 4 there. Look at the packaging on the back. They're so cool. These ones I actually bought at the op shop. But my uncle used to bring packets of these back home in the 60s and 70s when he went to China. This is an N embroidered one. Little Irish one. And then look, this box is full of them. Look at them all. Last time I counted there was about 150 and I've added to it since then. So bear with me a moment while I put these back. Unless you want to see more, let me know if you want to see more. But I think we'll be here for hours just looking at hankies. We've spent 20 minutes just looking at those ones. Crikey. Let me try and just sneak these back in here, and then we'll move on to something else, hey? So I forgot, I realised the other day, I went back and watched my last video and I thought, I haven't even done my how are you going? Hello and how are you? What have you guys been up to? How was your break? Your festive, I don't know what to call it. Some people don't celebrate Christmas, so, but I think in this country, all the businesses and the schools have a break over Christmas. So a lot of people have had time off. I believe the kids are still off school. Now I'm going to have to find somewhere to fit this box so I can move on with more stuff. I've got under my table here, this is outside this table because the lighting's better. It's so dark in my house. But my son came over the other day. He doesn't come over often anymore. Not because he doesn't want to, he's just busy. You know, he's got his own life now. But it was the day, it was 48 degrees or something here the day he came over. And I said to him, you know what? I could go a cold beer. I haven't had one for ages. So I said, do you want to go over, pick us up a couple of beers each? So a couple of beers. He brought back a carton. So all the beers we drank, the empty cans are sitting in a container right in front of me under the table. So if you hear noise when I move this box, it's all those beer cans that I haven't put in the recycle bag yet. Oops. There we go. So now when I've opened that box, I've knocked down one of my hooks. I'm not going to put that up right now because I'll have to stand up. Right, I was going to do needle books. I've still got a heap more stuff here I wanted to show you. And I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4 bags at my feet with stuff I wanted to show you as well. So this is something I picked up this morning out of the, it was in the laundry actually. I've got 2 of these. I think the other one's a bit bigger. But these came from my grandmother's. They're handmade, obviously. I assume they're pot, pot, take the pot out of the oven. They're quite thick. There must be layers and layers of fabric in there. Unfortunately, that red has run, which is a bugger. It's grubby, but I'm too scared to wash it because I don't want that red to run again. Look how bright white that is under there. Wow, that's very cool. So it'd be lovely to be able to wash that. Alternatively, I don't know whether to pull it apart and use these vintage fabrics. I did think of using it to make a needle book. It's just so thick. Yeah, so that's something that I've come across that I thought I'd show you guys. I've got so much show and tell, it's ridiculous. How about we go to the needle books first? That might be a plan, hey? So you're not sitting here waiting for that. Now, I thought I'd show, this is a little one I started months ago. This is going to be my demo for when I went to the market before Christmas. And I didn't finish it. I ended up finishing a larger one. But, oh look, I've just got on a grub. Have I just done that or is that, no, it's dry. I'm going to show it to you. I bought a beautiful book from, I think I got it sent from England. Yeah, I did. It was sent from England recently. And typical me, had my coffee out on the table and Willow walked past and wagged her tail and coffee went all over the new book. So I'm a bit bummed about that. I tried to wash it right away, but I've still got coffee stains on it. Anyway, this was going to be, I should finish it, I suppose. This is going to be a little tiny, teensy tiny needle book. I love that vintage cherry fabric. It's a shame you sort of lose the cherries a bit once you do the stitching. I should have done a finer cotton. Anyway, there's one I'm working on. That's as far as I've gotten with that one. They do get better. That's my tin of some of my vintage fabrics I've acquired recently. Obviously, they're tiny little bits. I've been, every now and then, when I want to sit down and just stitch, I've been doing these little, should have pressed all this stuff. I knew I should have pressed it before I came out. I've just been doing these little 9 patches. Oh, Jude, you're right. Embrace the mishaps. I'm so pedantic, though. I'm ridiculously pedantic. I've tried desperately to stitch like Kate in the Nest or even Beck. Beck from So B talks about how she, embraced the wonk. Oh my gosh, I struggle with that. I love the look of it. I want to be able to do it, but my brain will not let me. By the way, while I'm talking here, I'm looking at this thinking, oh, that's an unattractive bracelet. I came across this morning cleaning up. This is the very first thing I learned to make when I was doing silversmithing. And yeah, the poor thing, look how stretched and out of shape she is. But my welds aren't too bad on that. Now that one's a bit howdy-doody. If I look too closely, it's a bit crooked. This is another one I made. This is one of my first. Yeah, whatever floats your boat. That's right. This is one of the first rings I made. Poor thing, look at that. This was a beautiful. I don't know if you can see the detail in that band there. Those flowers were all hand carved, but most of the details worn off over the years. My beautiful amethyst. I've got so many stones in there that I want to set, and I just haven't got around to it. Thank you, Jude. These were like, I want to go back because I didn't, my lessons were halted during COVID. So I still want to learn a lot more. Anyway, I've been doing these 9 patches every now and then. I think they might be good to stick in needle books here and there. I've got more in the bag there somewhere. Where did I put them? I'm so disorganized, guys. I've got more here somewhere, but I was watching now. I'm going to forget. I knew I should have written it down. Was it as a name? I want to say Jude, Jude. The Roxy sisters speak about her quite a bit. And she does those, she does sort of like wonky patchworking and a lot of other things. But I went through and started watching her YouTube videos the other day, which I'd never seen before. I think they're about 12 years old. And she talks about how to hand stitch um, your pieces like this. I've got a couple of little tips I didn't know before, which was cool. I don't like starting with a knot, and I wasn't quite sure how to do that. So she taught how to do that. It's basically just overstitch. And then she does like 2 straight stitches and a back stitch, 2 straight. I started doing that and I didn't like it, so I stuck with my straight stitch. And she taught about how to fold the pieces in and out. Jude Hill, that's it. Thank you, Jude Hill. Yes. Thank you, Jude. I hadn't come across her before. Like I said, I've heard the Roxy sisters speak about her, but I've never actually gone and had a look. So I did the other day while I was tidying up. Do a top stitch along your joins, and that holds these folds down. And that has been like a revelation to me. I love the look of it. I haven't done it on this one. I started doing it on this one. However, I should backtrack a bit. I tried a different technique that I've seen on Instagram. Now, I can't for the life of me remember who I saw doing it. It was just one of those videos that pop up with no words and they just show. And they put iron the fabrics onto this iron-on, like interfacing, I suppose. And I think, even though this isn't a thick one, I think it's too thick for this purpose. I'm probably better off with something like, I was going to say, like that iron-on. Yeah, I found it really helpful. But anyway, I tried this, and the idea is to, iron all the patches on and then fold it over. Now, the people I've seen doing it are doing it on a sewing machine. I do everything by hand these days, well, 99% of the time. So I've marked a line there where I want to stitch it. So I've actually done a couple with that technique, but they're quite clunky in the points here. So I don't know if you can see this. These haven't been pressed yet. I've started doing those top stitches to hold those folds down. But yeah, I want to try it again without that interfacing, or find a much finer interfacing, because they just feel so clunky and chunky and at those points. There's another one. I've got more somewhere. I haven't done the top stitching yet. So that's something else I've been playing with. Of course, I just dropped one on the ground. I'm just reaching for these needle books. Oh, you're a goose. I'm pulling them out of the wrong bag, I think. 1, 2. These have to go up there. They should be with those. Okay, wrong bag. Try again. Like I said, I've dragged out 4 bags and I don't know how many boxes. Right, okay, needle books. So, you probably would have seen this one. Colour combo. Which one was that? Oh, the 9 points, Jude? Is that what you're talking about? I missed that. Sorry, I was looking at the looking in the bags. I don't know how to describe how I choose colours. I think I do it quite intuitively. I don't um, I don't really plan it. It's the same when I do the needle books. I don't really plan out what I'm going to do. I just sort of pull it together as I go. So you've probably seen this guy I've been working on. It's getting quite chunky. I've still got a couple of pieces I'd like to try and get into it, but it does feel good, but I don't know if you can see how that steps down. That's because there's too much concentrated in that spot. It's really only the 2 Suffolk puffs, I think. It makes it, you see how that's sort of quite thick there. Anyway, as you can see, I still haven't finished doing the blanket stitch. I quite like this crochet edge on this one though. I'm fairly certain I've done more since you've last seen it. I need to press that down again. That tends to roll up. Might have to starch it. Let's see if I can bring you on top a bit more to make it a bit easier to see. I've storing what I've been working with inside there. So as I mentioned before, I normally cover the back of the work. I don't like looking at it, but this is quite neat and I quite like the look of that. So I don't think I'm going to cover that one, and I'll lose those peepholes if I cover it. This is that beautiful hand-dyed wool. And again, as I've mentioned before, I didn't plan on doing all this weave stitch, but I didn't like how this piece of fabric looked once I stitched it on, so I wanted to stitch over that edge, that raw edge. Then I've put this bit of lace on the back of it. I tried desperately hard not to come through, see here with the wool. I tried to just catch the top of that wool fabric, but some bits stick through, so I've put that pocket in, which tends to cover those pieces where I've peeked through a bit. Then I've got this beautiful piece of very delicate vintage lace. I think I've mentioned before, it's so light and delicate, you can barely feel it between your fingers. Probably doesn't help that I've got calluses everywhere. Then we've got this sandwich tray cloth, which I picked this one just mainly because of the colour. It's sort of all colour carries through. Oh, I think you mentioned that before, Jude, your Silk Road journal. I'd love to see that when you're done. You'll have to share it. That would be amazing, I reckon. So yeah, I picked this one mainly for the colours to carry the green and orange through. Now, orange is not one of my favourite colours. I don't like orange. I don't like yellow. Yeah, I'm the same, Jude. I just keep adding pages. It's crazy. That's what this poor guy's so chunky. I need to, like I said, I've got another piece I'd love to get into this. It's a piece of linen. I think I've shown you guys last time. I don't even know where it's gone. But it's just going to make it so clunky. And I don't like how this bit hangs out. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. That hangs out now. Anyway, let's keep going. See if I've done anything else. I can't remember. Oh, Christ. Sorry about my swearing. I'll try not to. I'm a swearer, guys. If I haven't sworn on here before, I normally swear a lot, so I apologise if I forget today. I never used to swear, and then I joined the fire brigade. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to slurp then. Add some tatting. Must be another one I'm working on. I've added some tatting. I'll pull it out in a minute. I've made nearly a whole needlebook in the last few days, which surprises me quite a bit because normally it's not quite finished, but it normally takes me forever. So then we've got the blue and orange again instead of the green and orange. And then of course this beautiful vintage feed sack patch that I bought from Beck. I love that. And this doily came in the kit. And I'm tossing up whether to attach that lace. I haven't attached it yet, but it just feels the stains on it, but it just feels a bit too empty for me. I don't know. I look at it now and I think it's not too bad, but and I'm not sure this lace is the right piece to put here, but that's what I've been toying with. I'd say that was a bit of bridal lace, potentially from the 80s, maybe 90s. Looks like the 80s to me. My nan used to make bridal gowns, so this is a beautiful piece of linen table centre. I've lost the words what this is. Battenberg. I was going to say Mount Melick. I don't know why the heck. I was looking at my books earlier. I've been tossing up with this bit of crocheted filet lace. I don't know. Maybe I should add it this way and turn it into a little pocket. I don't know. Don't even know if it'll go on yet. I've been playing with that one. That beautiful orange wool, hand-dyed wool. Now, my brain does this thing at the moment where I can't just have a blank page. I've got to put something on it. I don't know why, but I'm tossing up what I can put on there. Biro on there. I've got to press that and get it off. This bit I think I've shown you before. This one breaks my brain. Obviously that was a big white space, so I wanted to put something on there. This is, I believe, a piece of antique French linen. This is a tiny little piece that came in this tin I bought from Nairi a while ago. And all I did was square it off. I didn't take anything else off it. But I wanted to sort of make it practical, so I've made it a little door and put this piece of wool in there. But I'm seriously considering unpicking it because I don't like how wonky that is. It breaks my brain. So there I am with that one. I think I've shared that one before. Our rusty lace, which my girlfriend was throwing out. I love that. That's the back of the work there. Again, I don't think I'll cover that. It's the back of the work's growing on me on some of these pieces. Now these beautiful vintage yo-yos, these came from Beck again, these ones. I just stitched them onto the flap. That's the flap from the, oh no it's not. I was going to say it's from the sandwich tray cloth. It's not, it's from that napkin. Yeah, napkin. I think I'll leave, I usually cover, like if I do something like this, I usually cover it, but I quite like looking at these feed sack fabrics, so I think I'll leave that like that. This is the other side of that orange, and again, as I keep mentioning, I can't handle it just plain, so I've attached a beautiful piece of vintage lace. That's all hand stitched, that, which I find amazing. Tossing up whether to stitch this vintage French fabric onto that side. I haven't stitched this down yet, that hem. I'm quite happy with this page. I think I'll leave that one like that. And then again, as I've shown before, I've designed this pretty piece to fold out if we want it to, or fold back in to that side. That's a piece of linen from a tablecloth again. I think that came from Beck, but I think that's actually a bit I had. And I tried to do a fancy stitch to attach that quilt square, the feed sack one. There's the other side of that sandwich tray cloth, that funny little pocket from the 50s, 30s, 40s, whatever. Tossing up whether to add this. Now, I thought I'd done more work on this, but it doesn't look like I have. Don't know how this has happened, but there's a 50-cent label on there. Okay, thought I'd done more work on that, but I haven't. Let's to another one. This is one I've been working on. Haven't gotten very far. I had to wash it. It was really grubby. This is a piece I got from Beck. That was the entire piece, this vintage cutter quilt. I've started doing the running stitch. I'm not very happy with the stitching I've done. It's very, very wonky. I've put a patch here because there was a hole in the feed sack. So I've put a patch there, and that's why I had that pin there, you silly goose. This bit here keeps lifting. Now see the wadding in between? It actually looks like it might have been cotton balls. It's very inconsistent, the filling, and it gets lumpy. So I actually think they might have used cotton balls or cotton, they used to get the rolls of cotton. But this is feed sack, so it's, potentially 1930s, 1940s. Now, because my stitching is so very wonky on this, what on earth is that sticking out? It's a knot, I think. Can you see that? I've not noticed it before. I think it's a knot because when I look closer, there's black stitching through here and through here. Oh, all that top part's done with black. So that's actually a knot that's peeking through, which I've never noticed before. How about that? So because it's so, wonky, my stitching, I'm actually tossing up whether I should not, I was going to put binding around it, but I'm thinking I might leave it like this, leave it a bit shabby, this one. This is another bit I got from Beck ages ago. I haven't washed this one. They come washed, they come clean, but sometimes because I handle them so much trying to think about what I'm going to do, they get a bit grubby again. So that one's already been stitched. The overstitch has been done. Again, this is vintage feed sack. That's the entire piece I've got. So I haven't decided. I think I will put an edge on that one. I won't leave it shabby, but I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do or which bit I'm going to have as the front. I quite like that actually, even though I don't like yellow. So that's another one. I've been doing a tiny bit of work on this one. This one's been going for ages, as you'd probably know. This was a kit from Beck I bought, I think, last year. Vintage sari silk. This came in the kit. I think I've mentioned before this piece of the sari silk wasn't cut very straight, and there's a hole cut in it. There's a bit of a hole here as well, but that's how it came. I've put wadding in between it. I'm not sure how I'm going to cover that hole. So yeah, I've got that there. This was the lining. I think it looks like they've sort of just laid the kimono out and cut it. So this was part of the lining, and this was actually part of the lining as well. So instead of taking that out, I decided to leave that in as a bit of a feature. And then I've overlapped the selvage from this lining silk to sort of make another feature through there. Again, I've shown you guys this before, but I have been doing a bit more work on it. I've finally stitched down those leaves that were sticking out. I didn't like how that looked when I closed it. This linen, I've added this, but the colours just seem to go in quite well. This was a piece of vintage, I think it was a table centre that had already been cut up when I got it. It was given to me. So I decided to put that in because the colours worked. I've lined it with a piece of linen damask, and it had that worked on it already. So I tried to make a feature out of that. Just added this bit of that Sue Spargo felt that came in the kit. I think that colour's called Kumquat. It goes really well with the silk. That was Beck's choosing. I've added this crocheted doily. There's a tail hanging out. This is how it was when I got it, and I don't know whether to. I should probably weave it in. I quite like it just hanging though. Now, this is where I've done a little bit more work. Another doily that I had, thank you Jude, that I thought the colours worked in well. And then I decided to line it. This silk came in the kit, so I decided to line it with that silk. So that's gone in as a page. And then I finally stitched around. This is a piece so I didn't quite have enough left of that kumquat wool. I need to press this again. So I added another piece of like a doctor's flannel, and I've done this Italian insertion stitch down there to join it because I wanted that to look like a feature. And then I decided to stitch these cherry blossoms out of wool. Now I tried to get them to complement the cherry blossoms on the cover. They're not the right colours, but I wanted to use what I already had. So that's why that's there. And then with this green, even though out here in the daylight it doesn't work very well, that was the closest green I had to sort of match with the leaves. And then I decided instead of using the thread that came in the kit to stitch around this border, I decided to use a variegated, oh thank you, the Italian hem stitch insertion stitch. I'll show you another one I've done shortly. I did another one the other day. I find it's easier to use. I use like a crochet cotton, not an overly mercerized one, just like the DMC. This is a vintage one, but you know, the soft DMC ones. And then I lined it with the vintage silk, kimono silk, more kimono silk. I've joined that on there. So this is, mind you, this is all hand stitched too. I haven't pressed my marks out yet. I need to press them. They're heat pressed. So that one I think was going to go in that way. I bet they're going to hang out everywhere. Now this is the bit I've been working on. This came in the kit. There's quite a bit more of this left, the same as that. That silk there. I've still got quite a bit of that left. There's a lot in the kit. So this came in the kit. It's a modern, I believe, Japanese fabric. I don't know if it's a linen. It's, I don't know how to explain it. I couldn't work out how to get that in here. I just couldn't get it to work. So I decided to line it. Now this is a piece of fabric I bought from Beck a while ago. It's a heavier fabric, so I don't know how this is going to work. It's almost an upholstery weight. And I can't remember if it's linen or a linen cotton blend, but I decided to line it with that, and I've used some vintage bias binding. So what I've done is, it's a bit hard to see, I've hand stitched the binding onto each piece of fabric. This one here still has the tacking in, so I tack it down first, baste it down, because pins are just not, pins in this, when you're working like this by hand, it just sucks with pins trying to work that. Now, where's my bag of tricks? As I said, I've got these bloody bags out here. I can't find anything. Okay. This little pin cushion was given to me recently. Isn't it cute? I don't think it was supposed to be a pin cushion. It looks like it might have been a Christmas decoration. It's got the hanger there. It's from Hungary. I think I've shown this before. It was given to me as a gift, and it had needles in it, so I've just kept using it as a needle, as a pin cushion. Like I've got pin cushions galore, but I've decided this one's cool. So anyway, I pulled this out to pull this crowbar out, this big needle that I call a crowbar. And the reason I've pulled that out is because I want to take this tacking, basting stitch out. My brain fair income. So, and that I have actually used crochet cotton to baste with. It's not probably not necessary, but this, because this is a heavier fabric, my little fine polyester thread just wouldn't have done the job well enough for my liking. I do prefer cotton, but I try to save the cotton for actual stitches that will be seen. So I've actually got, I should have brought them actually, I've ended up with so many balls of crochet cotton. I've currently got 2 tubs full. One tub's just all white and ivory. I do love the coloured ones. So here I've just done a holding stitch that I've got to try and do them too well sometimes. Oh, because I stitched it into the back into the thread to hold it, that's why. Okay, so there's that basting stitch out. I'll come back out because that's probably a bit nauseating. And yeah, I've just hand stitched right along that fold, you know, the bias, vintage bias fold. So I've just stitched in the ditch all the way along on both pieces of fabric, and then turn it back over. So if you press it out flat, it'll look like that. But I'm actually wanting to fold it in half, like so. I need to give this a good press again. Well, I haven't actually pressed it yet. And then I will come through and do a top stitch in the ditch, or maybe just below the stitch as a feature. You can see I need to trim up this lining piece, and I went out of my way to make sure we could see. I like the roses. I like this one too, but I don't think it's going to actually be seen. So when I fold this up, you can see the roses, which is what I wanted. I like that print, that too, but we're going to cut most of that off. So the idea is to put that in as a page once it's trimmed down, and I think I will probably do this bias all the way around the edge, this same bias tape. So that will be another page. And then I've got a piece of Doctor's flannel that came in the kit, so I think I'll put that there. I want to stitch around the edge of that, and I'll probably use this coloured thread. I ended up buying more of this because I got a bit low on the one that came in the kit. So that will go there. And then I've got this doily that I've had in there from day one. And at first I was going to attach it to the Doctor's flannel like this, but I think I will turn it around and attach it like this, and I'll stitch it up to about here somewhere, and then by the time I put the center seam, these could potentially be used as pockets. So I think that's all I will do in this one, now that I've finally worked it out after all this time. And what worries me though is when we close it, unless I get that in really tight, Look how far the doctor's flannel hangs out. I'm going to have to trim it all quite significantly to get it to fit. So that's where I'm up to with that one. Hopefully I can get that one finished very shortly. And this is one I started the other day that I've got quite a fair way on already. The only problem is I got a packet of vintage French and Japanese textiles from Le Cello for Christmas. I've never bought anything from there before. I might have got a book from there. I can't remember now. But I got this packet of vintage textiles and I just loved this piece. So I decided to turn it into a needlebook. However, in my stupidity, I got the book mainly constructed and decided I needed to press it, and I've scorched the bloody fabric, so I'm so annoyed with myself. I don't know if there's going to be anything I can actually do about it. Beautiful vintage French textile, and I've scorched it. So let's put that. Okay, Jude, thank you for joining me. Let's put that scorching aside for now because I'm so annoyed. I've never done that before. Not for years and years and years. I've not scorched fabric, so I'm so annoyed with myself. Actually, I did with some of the vintage doilies a couple of months ago because my iron clapped out. Had to get a new iron, but nothing like this. This has really upset me. So I wanted to use this piece of fabric. Again, all I did was straighten the edges up on this. I didn't really cut anything off it. And then when I folded it over, I did like the shape of it originally. But then by the time I added this crocheted edge, it looked disproportionate to me. So I wanted to extend it. So I decided to add this piece of vintage linen. This is a piece, oh, that looks scorched too. Talk about bloody hopeless. This is a piece I think came in a kit from Beck a while ago. And I decided to join it to this lovely textile, but I didn't want to just attach it. So I've put a bit of wadding in there. I've hand stitched all the way around it. And then that side with that seam, I decided to do an Italian insertion stitch to join it. So it's sort of a little bit lacy. You can see through it. So yeah, I was happy with that, how it extended it out. I've carried over these. They're not quite the same colour, but the red's in here. Yeah, the poor thing. So we open it up, and of course there's dog hair in it. There's dog hair in everything. This was the original fold-in flap I'd done. I'd attached some tatting, handmade tatting along here. This piece of linen was what was cut off you know how you get the stamped linens and you embroider them? This piece was cut off one of those. It was an excess piece that wasn't needed. So instead of throwing it out, I decided to use it. And I did a piece of binding to just neatly finish off that fold from that hem. Beautiful piece of vintage green wool that I had. It's only like doctor's flannel weight. Then I decided to put in this doily. Now I'll show you when we get to the other side of it. But it just didn't look, it just looked empty to me. And I'm tossing up whether to take this off and actually turn it into a pin so it can be removed. Not sure yet. So I've got this vintage feed sack doily. I think this is one that came from Beck. Actually, this might have been one from Nairi because it's a bit bigger. And then I added this crocheted medallion, this pretty flower crocheted medallion underneath. And it just didn't look right. So I've added a piece of vintage lace on top of that, done a bit of layering. Still didn't think it looked right. It just looked funny sitting up there. So then I added this beautiful fine woven lace underneath. So it looks like a bit of a medal now. But anyway, yeah, I think I might remove that and turn it into put a brooch bar on it and turn it into a pin. So I've got this beautiful crocheted lace edge on that doily. We turn over and I've lined it with a piece of beautiful vintage cotton that I got from Sue. Sue, who designed the Gosling quilt. I got this from her. Sue Garrett, is it? So this is a beautiful piece of, I believe this is reclaimed from an eiderdown, because my great uncle, great aunt used to have one. And then I had the doctor's flannel page, the wool. And again, it just looked too bare to me, so I've added another piece of reclaimed vintage cotton eiderdown, again from Jude. So we turn the page over. Got a blank page. I might leave it because we need room to put the pins and needles, don't we? This is a sandwich tray cloth. Now, it's got stunning embroidery on it, but it had these holes in it. So I decided I should have picked a different colour. Inside that matched this, just like off-white, but it's quite ecru out here. So but then I don't mind that either because I've sort of made a feature out of it, if that makes sense. So I've patched it up with another piece of reclaimed vintage linen. I did these little hexes out of vintage cottons I had. When we turn it over, look at that embroidery on that sandwich tray cloth. It's just divine. So I didn't want to, there's another hole there that I'm tossing up whether to, see where the stem used to be stitched? There's a hole worn in there. This poor thing's probably been pressed so many times. And then when I did patch the holes in it, it sort of pulled apart in here. So I've done some needle weaving to try and pull that back together. But I thought that was just too beautiful to not save in some way. So that bit now, I want to attach a press stud to that. I've lined it with some, what's her name? Emma Newman fabric, which I thought was stunning. So I've lined that all the way through there, all hand stitched, needle turned all the way around. And then another piece of Emma, I think that's an Emma Newman, or is that a, where is it? Goodness gracious, there it is. Yeah, another Emma Newman. So they came from Beck's a while ago. This vintage lace I got from my girlfriend recently. And I did that because I thought it sort of brings in these caramel colours a little bit. So I've turned that into a lovely little pocket. It goes all the way through to the seam. And I think I'll just put a press stud there. I've thought about a vintage glass button, but I think it might add too much bulk to it. So there we go. That just has to have the press stud put on. Then I put a piece of that beautiful cocoa and pink vintage wool blanket in. Now this pink, this is an old blanket. This is a vintage blanket. This is nearly neon when you bring it outside. It's stunning. And of course I've stitched on a piece of vintage lace there because I just can't keep them blank. It's a little bit of yellow thread there. Open her up and I've attached a beautiful vintage doily. So this is all hand woven, this doily. I actually shared a video the other day on how this is actually done. It's quite fascinating. It's like a bobbin lace. I've got a blank page here. Oh look, you can see, I didn't think you could see my stitches through there, but you can. I can see them out here. Then I stitched this in the other day because I just felt it needed something else. And then there's the other side of that sandwich tray cloth. Oh, I'm going flat. I'm going to have to plug in. I brought it out here in case I had to. Doesn't look like it's charging. Have I missed something somewhere? Don't know if it's charging. It didn't. Is it charging? Hang on, guys. Let me. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's charging. Let me just check for a minute that I've... Come on, you big knucklehead. I'm just going and checking all the points to make sure they're all plugged in. I won't be a moment. Ah, one of them had come out, so we should be charging now. Oh, my knees, my goodness, they're worn out. Okay, there's the other side of the sandwich tray cloth with that gorgeous Emma Newman fabric. And then that stunning embroidery again. And then this side of the doctor's funnel, I wanted to put a feature on it, didn't know what to do, so I've ended up doing a needle lace. Got a bit wonky up here. I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy while I stitched that. There's a dog hair, that frustrates me. So there, I did a bit of a needle lace feature on there. Then I've stuck this bit in the other day just because I like it. This beautiful, delicate, vintage lace that I've had. This is one of the first laces I ever bought when I was a teenager. I've had it for years. So I wanted to stick a bit of that in. And of course, there's the other side of that first doily that was in the front that I put that rosette on. The vintage duvet, not duvet, I can't remember what I called it now. Beautiful cotton fabric. And there's the back side of that doily, finally. And then I've added, I need to press this because it's stretched a bit when I've stitched it in. So I need to give it a good steam. I can't remember if I got these off Nairi or from my cousin's shop. So I've added that. There's a pocket on the inside back. And then we close up and I've got this stunning, I love this, vintage gimp. I went focus. Oh, I can't get it to focus. So I've put that on to wrap it with. So this one's finished. I only started it the other day. So it can be tied in a bow, or I've just been wrapping it around because I noticed when I tied it, where I tied it in a bow, it started to damage the gimp a bit. This is quite an old gimp, this one. So that's what I'm up to with that one. I don't think I've got any further with this one yet. I should stick them there so they're sort of just in the shot a bit. So yeah, I don't think I've done any more with this one since we've last met. I don't think so. Oh, no, I was going to say, have I stitched that on? I haven't. I need to finish. Where is it? Of course, it's not in here, is it? Okay, no, nothing more has been done on that one, unfortunately. I need to finish that one. That's a good one. And nothing more has been done with this silk one. I'd like to finish that one. I've already stitched that together. This one, oh no, that's not it. That's not it. What have I done with it? It's not in here. I've got another silk one, vintage kimono. This is the kit that this came in. There was enough to make 2 needle books, and it's a green. I don't know what I've done with it. I thought I had it this morning. Here it is. So this one, I want to undo what I've done. I don't like it. So I started stitching over the print in a variegated black grey thread, and I don't like how it looks. I used 2 threads, I think 2 strands instead of 1, and I just don't like it. So I want to undo all that very delicately somehow. and I think I decided that was going to be a pocket. Let's have a look. I haven't looked at this one for a while. So I'm planning on lining it. This is part of the original kimono, and I think I'll just line it with this to join that together. This is a selvage, so I could use that as a feature somehow. It's so delicate, this silk. So I think I'll just line that with that. I'd like to come up with something. This one is going to fold over like that. So there'll be an internal pocket there. There we go. I can use that. Overlap that a fraction. It's too much, but it'll give you an idea of what I'm thinking. And then when I do that can fold over like that and make a bit of a feature. So that's the idea for that one so far. That'll be the pocket on the inside back. I've already put a seam down the back there to join those two bits together. And yeah, I just want to undo that stitching. I don't like that. So, okay, this is the idea with this one. I need to get to work on these. I'm dragging the chains up in front. I've got a bit of doctor's flannel. Pretty sure that came in the kit. It's a little bit big. Then I've got this. This came in the kit too, and I'm not sure how to use this. I was thinking maybe, I don't know, maybe like so. So we've got pockets. Don't know yet with this one. This one's got me a bit stumped. And then I've got, okay, so I've got this bit in here to use in it, this reclaimed crochet. Now, I think I need to add a piece of cream doctor's flannel. I've pulled this to use in it, but I think it's going to be too big. I was going to put this in like, is this what I was going to do? I was going to do something different with this. What was I going to do? Can't remember now. What a knucklehead. So with these, when I put these in the beginning I used to put them in this way and just stitch them in as a feature. But now if I'm going to put them in, I was going to turn this into, I remember, it's too big. I was going to turn it into a zippered pouch that's inserted in it, but it's too big for this book. Don't know if I can find another one that might work. So the other alternative is I could stitch it in like this onto a piece of wool flannel, and then, you know, stitch the sides so far, and then there could be pockets in it. But I'm not sure with that piece yet. It's a bit bigger than I originally thought. I've got this sandwich tray cloth I wouldn't mind putting in this one. It's got cut work, beautiful embroidery. Helen, hello Helen, how are you? I also thought about putting this one in it. Again, not sure how that will work. It's got a bit of a pull tear down here. I'm not overly keen on these machine laces either. And I've also pulled this one to put in it. So I've got those there. I've pulled a couple of coordinating threads. I've pulled a vintage zipper to use in it. Why have I got mauve in there to match that? That's why. So that's as far as I've gotten with that one. I need to get to work on it. I'm still not convinced of those pieces I've pulled. So yeah, that's the green silk vintage kimono. Pulling out of space again. What have I got in this one? Looks like I had similar ideas for this one. I haven't opened these for months, so I can't remember what I've done. Now I've stitched, I pulled all the lining apart again on this one. I do it with all of them. And I've stitched some of the line into. Did I stitch that, or was it? No, I've stitched it because I've added. Yeah. Okay. So I've got some iron on pellet in there, and you'll probably notice there's an overhang here. So that's the raw selvage of the silk. So I think what I was planning was actually, no, I think I'm going to make that a feature actually, that raw edge, that rough edge. It's on that other side too. So I think I was planning on turning this over. We're going to lose it though. Oh no, maybe not, if I don't make it into a pocket. So look, there's tears all the way along there. I didn't do that. So I wouldn't mind turning that over to make a feature of that selvage. And then I'm fairly certain I've hand stitched these. Yes, I have. Yeah. And then it looks like I was going to turn that over and then do the same on that side, make a feature out of that selvage. Then we'll have a little pocket there. It's only a little one. Then I've got, now some of this came with the kit, I believe. I've got more of this fabric around though. It's not a very big piece, is it? I've had that there to put in it as a page. Got more of this silk. I've got more of this somewhere too. I'll do something with that. So what's happened there? I just used it to line that other, in that other needle book, you silly goose. Now this bit came in the kit. Now obviously this book wasn't designed to be as big as I've made it because these pages are quite small, aren't they, that came in the kit. I've got this beautiful piece of doctor's flannel, and I can't remember if that bit came with the kit or not. I've also actually pulled this with this needle book, this pink silk one, but I think they might work in here. So this is how I did the wool embroidered flower in this one. Use this pull away. I've had it for years. Had it when I was at Guild. So drawn another cherry blossom that I could potentially stitch in here as well. Got a bit of Liberty that came in a scrap pack from Beck, 12, 18 months ago. Another bit of wool flannel. Now it's a different colour. That colour would go better though, wouldn't it, with that? I wonder if I've got more of that. That's a better colour. That must have come in the kit. Another bit of Liberty tucked in there. More of that silk fabric from Beck that came in the kit. And I've pulled this little linen. Gee, I can see so much yellowing on that out here. Little linen. Don't know if it's a napkin. I had a few of them. So I've pulled those that could potentially go in this. I've also pulled, oh, you knucklehead, this sandwich tray cloth because the colours tend to work with this one. Now this one is going to go, this isn't going to stay in this kit. I've got an over one of these that my daughter has sent me as well. Look at this petty point on the silk gauze. Isn't it amazing? So that's not going to go in that needle book. I can't remember why I put that in there. They've come out of, no, maybe they've come out of here. Some threads I've pulled that match that I had in my collection. I've also pulled this one that could potentially go in it. The colours sort of work. And I've also pulled this one. Now these ones, again, like that last green cross stitch one I had, my initial idea was to make a zippered pouch to go in it, but it's too big, so I could stitch half of it in potentially. I'm going to lose all the nice pretty bits if I do that. So that one might go out the window. And a vintage zipper that I pulled for the pouch that I was going to put in. So that's all I've pulled together for that one. Again, it's using a bit of my brain to think about. These silk ones are really challenging me for some reason. Um, yeah, I'm just struggling to pull bits together that I like. And again, as I mentioned earlier, that, and I might even end up doing that, all of the silk and the fabrics from Beck in this one and this one, they were all one kit. So I've tried to make 2 books out of this one kit with that. Still working on this one. Crikey, I've got a lot going on, haven't I? This one's all messed up. So, gee, the poor thing. Look at the size of the crowbar I've been using in that one. So this is that beautiful Tilda fabric I bought one day. Now, I didn't go shopping for fabric on this particular day. At that point, I hadn't been shopping for fabric for years. One of my earbuds keeps popping out all of a sudden. And I came across this and absolutely fell in love with it. I'd love to buy a few meters of this to make myself a blouse out of it. I love it. I stitched on this vintage embroidery onto the front, and I'm still doing the blanket stitch around here to hold it all together. Oh, that's the bit that I was going to put in this Sanderson one. So, there that is. So this is the lining when you open this one up. This will be the lining, and I've just tacked this back so I can do that blanket stitch around it. So that won't stay like that, that'll open out. And I've stitched this so, oh, it's all basted, sorry, but I've stitched this so they can be pockets on the inside. Then I've got, bear with me while I untangle all this. I've got a big tangle here. I'm sure I've shown this before, but I'm just going through to check that I haven't, if I've updated anything since you were last here. I don't think I have on this one. So then I've got this that I was thinking of putting in. Now if I press this and steam it, I could potentially separate it along here, separate it here, and then I'll have all this that I can use in another project. So the idea is to press that out, steam it so it sits in here. I'll separate that, and then I've got, what we're going to put in next. Oh gee, I've got a mess here, guys. Looks like I need to get more felt for this one. Looks like I was going to try and get this piece. This is a table runner, but look, she's all battle scarred, but it's absolutely stunning. So I'd like to try and get this piece in somehow. It might end up being like this, I'm not sure yet. I don't think there's anything, oh, it's cut off. So I'd like to get this in somehow. Don't know how yet. I'm going to have all that linen up there I could use. Then I've got, crying out loud, I need more wool in it. Got a piece of wool felt. That's a Sue Spargo, I believe. Oh no, that might be another one that's come from Thorpe's, so I don't know what their felt is. I've got this that I wanted to get in it. That would be a page. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Let's backtrack a second. I was going to put a bias trim on that and then attach that as a pocket. So there. I've got, so I wanted to get this one in as a page as well because it is the same design as what I've attached to the front and the back cover. And I've also got I'd like to get this one in because it's pretty and delicate and carries through the same colours. Again, don't know how I'm going to do this yet. I've also got, I'd like to get this in somehow. So that will have to, that'll be seamed down there somewhere. So then I'll have a flap. I could potentially attach one of these to the flap. This is a little compact case I got from my cousin. I don't know whether to attach that as a pocket to this one. And this will open up and we'll have these two great big deep pockets here. I'm thinking of attaching that if I've got enough. I don't think I'm going to actually have enough room by the time I put the seam in. So I'm thinking of attaching that there. This is already on the linen piece, so I want that as a feature as well. And then I've got, that might even be for this. This is going in as a zippered pouch that I've been embroidering. See, that's going to hang out a long way. That's fallen off. Oh, that goes there, doesn't it? I should pin these in. So this is going to be a zippered pouch. I'm currently hand quilting the other side of this. It's just going to be the same as the cover on the other side of the pouch. I've got a, here it is. So here's the other side of the pouch I'm doing. So that will be like that somehow. I'm going to have to trim this down quite a bit to get it to fit. And that's not going to be as big either. The zipper is going to be set in there. I can't decide whether to do a hot pink zipper or a yellow or a green. I'm originally going to have pink, but now I don't know. Anyway, I've got another. Oh, this was going to go. That's right. This was going to go on the inside first. Sorry, guys. I've messed it all up. I need to trim these down so I can see better and not keep getting so tangled up. I should do that now, shouldn't I? Where is that gone? I like to try and do this carefully though so I don't unravel those crocheted bits, if that makes sense. Oh, fiddlesticks, I can't find the scissors now. I have to use these surgical scissors instead. Okay, so there's some stain in there. Let's turn it around and see. That's not as much staining, I don't think. So what I want to do is separate this down here. I don't think there's any way to do this without, I've overstitched these to try and prevent these from unraveling. I don't think there's any way to actually undo it without, because I believe they've been crocheted to each other. So this would have come along this way, crocheted along this way, crocheted onto that point and then continued. So they haven't actually been stitched as individual medallions and then added. So it's a bit difficult to separate them without them unraveling. So I will come back and overstitch those to try and stop that. And what you have to be wary of, I've been dreadful at this, really pay attention to which pieces you're cutting because I've had a bad tendency to run off in the wrong direction in the past. Okay, so we'll remove that big bulky bit that just dropped to the floor. Now the plan was to put this piece in here. It needs a good press and steam. It should grow a little bit after I press and steam it. Definitely need to overstitch those points down there so they don't unravel. Okay, my jewellery keeps sliding off. I thought I'd try and make a bit of an effort today, but they keep sliding off. I even scrubbed my fingernails this morning. They're still grubby. I cannot keep nice fingernails anymore. I'm too hard on them. Okay, so that was going to go there. Then the plan was to put the pink felt, and then this was going to open up with this vintage milliner's silk flowers, and this silk ribbon I was just going to try and stitch down. I thought I'd press it, and I thought, no, you know what, I won't. I'll leave it like this. I might press it a little bit. It's a little bit screwed up in there. But I'm planning on just stitching this silk down like so. I've started stitching that. I just pulled the thread out of the needle, you knucklehead. So there's a needle in there holding that in place at the moment. So that was going through the next page. And then, oh, crikey. I think actually, it's going to be, I'm going to do it the other way around and then use this trim, this vintage trim, along, I can't remember if it was the pink or the blue. I should go back through the videos and see what I was planning. So I'm going to use this along the felt somewhere. So that was going to go, originally I had it turned the other way, I think, but I think I want that to open to that now. Then I've got this, I don't think I'm going to get this in, this vintage linen bit of cross stitch. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that in anywhere though, it's a bit big. So I've got that. That's the bit I was working on for that Sanderson. But I might just make it that bit too bulky. Then I've got, I remember now. So that was going to go, I think, that way. I don't know though if I want that to open. So that'll be stitched up there. I will do blanket stitch or something around that edge. Either blanket stitch or bias binding, I'd say. I don't know if I want that to open on that. So that's gonna bother me with that flower, I think. So that's why I had thought of, let's backtrack. I was going to put this, I think, in here, and then put, so, bloody dog here. One day I'll be bawling my eyes out every time I see these dog hairs because she won't be with me anymore. So I'm trying to be appreciative that they're actually here. Okay, so I could potentially, I think this is where I was going, and stitch this so far so these can be pockets. Not sure about that bloody lace now. Okay, and then go open like that, and then what do I have next? Probably this one. So that will be seamed about there. Let's see, we'll go down there. Then I'll have this big flap. I don't like to cut them off. I like to utilise them. So potentially they could be two little pockets, but I usually attach something. So that will potentially open like that. Like that. I wonder if I should double that pocket. Let's have a look. No, I can't because I want to put that there. So that's not going to work. Thinking out loud, guys. Okay, now attach that. Oh, that looks good next to the pink, doesn't it? Or maybe I could even put that there. No, I think it needs to go there. That little compact pocket. Turn the page, and we've got these great big deep pockets here then. I'm thinking of stitching that to that. Well, shouldn't lose too much of that by the looks. Then we've got that beautiful cross stitch up there. Fairly certain I bought this from Nairi, this one. Then I think this might get attached to that flap, that zippered pouch. And then, I'm not sure if this will work. Hi Gina, how are you? I don't know how long I'm going to go, mate. I've been on here for an hour and a half already. Crying out loud. So then I was thinking of attaching that as a pocket. I'll put a piece of bias around there, I think. So potentially, let's go back a step because we didn't see this. I could stitch this on so that makes another pocket. I'm going to have a big empty page there, so we could potentially go maybe something like that in there and turn the page and have that. I don't know how many times I've put this together and then I've jumbled it up and forgotten what I was doing with it. Got another doily here I want to get in. I don't know where I'm going to put it. Turn it over for this page, and again that could be another pocket. Look at those flowers, they're beautiful. That will be our zippered pouch in there. Let's turn the pouch over, and that opens up to, don't like that like that. Maybe I can attach, oh, crying loud. Maybe we could get that in there, and then this page would turn over like so, and oh, we got chunky happening. And then I'm not sure I like that blue now that I've cut it up. I've still got that. Yeah, so most of that I'm happy with. I'm not sure about that blue crochet now. I don't think I like it. So potentially that could be that needle book. Look at these bits of linen hanging out the bottom. This is where I go through and do that, and then I tuck this up like this to keep it all together. Then next time I pull it out, I think, what have I done there? And I pull it all out and forget what I've done. I like to use some of this vintage trim in it, so I'm going to tuck that in there. And that's that one that I need to get to work on. I did have the zipper for that, and now I don't know where it's gone. Gee, I'm a knucklehead sometimes. Okay, I'm just going to stick this bit back into its little plastic bag so I can keep it all together and try and keep it clean, because I'm a bloody grub, fair income. Every time I pull things out, I think, my goodness, that looks grubby. I'll show you an example if I can find it. Yeah, this pouch, this zippered pouch I made with that was the, I can't remember, it's called the Quick and Easy zippered pouch or something from So Be. I decided to do mine differently. It's supposed to be half that size. I decided to do this on the other side, but look how grubby she is. The poor thing, I use it all the time. Oh my goodness, she's going to have a bath, fair dinkum. Yeah, I use this little pouch nearly every day. Right, what else was I going to show you? I've got so much here, guys, it's stupid. Oh, okay, I've still got this needle book to pull together. Oh, there's another one. Oh, far out. There's another one, there's another one. That's ones I keep forgetting about. How many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 there that we've looked at so far. Here's number 10. I've got another one that I've finished. I don't know where I've put it. There's another one I'm working on. Another piece of that beautiful Tilda. Don't know why I decided to do that. I was taught those by Jenny Rofe many, many years ago. And I think this is the original flower I made with Jenny all those years ago. We even learned how to hand dye our fabrics. So I really liked that class, and I just wish I could remember more of the techniques. When I'm cleaning up, I might come across the instructions. I usually kept the instructions in folders. I found a heap of my old instructions from Guild recently, and I used to add handwritten notes as well. So hopefully I'll come across the ones for the dimensional flowers that Jenny taught us. So this one, I've actually put all the cover together on this one by the books, finished it. I've got this beautiful vintage cotton on the inside, and it's all basted still. This old, oh, maybe 70s, it's a synthetic lace. I'm still not convinced I like it in here, but it's in now. So then I've got this vintage napkin that I thought I'd make into a pocket, but I want to line it. I don't like seeing the back of it. And I've folded it with this little tuck in here, like a gusset, I suppose, because I don't like to cut anything. You can see how it's been stitched as well, how it's been constructed. You see these holes, so I'm tempted to crochet into those instead of just leaving it. So there's that one. I've got a bit of a tab happening. Then I've got, again, I'm not sure about this one. This is why it's still sitting. It's just not feeling right. So I've got this blue vintage wool blanket in. This has come off a bread basket liner. It's one of the 4 points. Don't know whether to attach that. I don't know. I've got that there as an idea. Then I've got this embroidery, again, just basted on. This was part of a sock cloth. I've done a lot of basting. What's that? What have I done? Got all these stitches, upright stitches. I don't know why I've done those. Don't know. Then I attach these vintage, 60s or 70s, is it rayon? I don't know. I don't normally like synthetic laces, but I've attached that one up there. Then again, I've got another one of those. That's off the bread basket liner again. Not sure how I'm going to attach that. It's just folded over for now. A piece of wool felt. This wool felt came from Thorpe's, but the colour, look how well the colour works with the Tilda on the cover. So that will go in there. Again, don't know, it'll get something put on it. I have pulled this beautiful vintage crochet. Don't know what that is. I'm sure I've soaked this. I soak everything when I get it. So I'm thinking about putting that in as a page, just as a page. Another bit of wool felt. Now this wool felt, this piece came from a kit I bought many, many years ago at the Sydney Craft Fair. And I think that one was on, it was on an island in a convention centre. I can't remember the name of the island. It was in Sydney. Went with a girlfriend I used to work with, actually. And this was a kit to make beautiful wool dolls that were dressed. I've still got all the patterns and the books and everything here, but I've started using bits from the kit because I just wanted the colours and I didn't want to spend more money. So that's what I've done there. Just had a bit of coffee. Sorry, guys. I've got this sandwich tray cloth in here. I'm pretty sure I got this one from my cousin's shop, but it's stitched on quite a heavy canvas, this one. It's a bit unusual, but lovely stitching. Then there's vintage wool blanketing, orange blanketing that I quite like. This one's going to be a chunky monkey too. I need to, everything's shifted. And then I'm tossing up whether to put these. There's pink on there too. Have I spilled something or is it colour run? I'm still tossing up about these crocheted bits. Sometimes they're just not sitting well with me at the moment. I don't know why. It's just not doing it for me. Then I've got, this is another napkin that I'm thinking of. I don't know if I will. Thinking of lining it with this blue floral. Same as the one that's on the inside. This is a vintage cotton, beautiful fabric, this. But I thought with the applique, you know, it carries over. There's more applique here. So there's sort of a bit of a theme happening. We've got the blue and the orange happening. So yeah, thinking about lining that with that, that will be another pocket, seam down the center there. There's that lace again. Of course, I'll probably applique something there because I don't like them naked. Same with the wool. And again, I don't know if I'll attach something to the back of these embroidered tray cloths because they're quite neat, really. Tray cloth, and we've got again naked blue wool that I'll have to dress with something. Oh, that's right, I was going to stitch that one onto there. This is a piece that came in a kit from Beck recently. I bought two of the pinch pot kits just for the textiles that were in them. I'm not going to use them to make pinch pots, but this was in one of those kits. It's not a dog hair, it's too big. Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to do these. These bits I've got on that look like flaps. I don't know whether to attach another piece of fabric under them and actually use them as a flap over a pocket. I don't know. I haven't decided yet because then we're going to lose some of the wool for the needles. Although there's quite a bit in here. That was dog hair. Then we've got the other side of that garden embroidery again. Oh, that's right, I forgot I'd done that. That's a button pin I made years ago. I had a whole heap of these. And this is a piece I started years ago to do. I have to stick another piece of fabric under there. This was going to be a stained glass window piece. So I was thinking I could potentially applique that in. And then we've got that napkin again. And that is potentially, that's going to be, I'll have to attach something to that. I don't want to cut it off, so I think I'll attach something. Don't know what yet. So that's going to be another chunky monkey. At least that one feels a bit more structured. I feel like I'm on a bit of a path with that one. I've got some other little bits and pieces in its bag, just bits of fabric, bits of wool that I was going to put in, but she got too chunky. I've pulled some embroidery cottons that I could use in it. I need a blue, that beautiful, can't remember the name of the blue, I shouldn't forget it. A couple of vintage zippers if I want to put a pouch in it that are in the right colours. And in this bag I've even got more. Oh, there we go. I did pull a blue thread. Squished down in the corner. So I've also got more of these buttons I made years ago. Button pins. This is the last one. I had heaps of them. I should undo them. I should have stitched thread over there. That's unfinished. I never thought of that until now. Anyway, they're in that bag too. So that's the yellow, orange / blue needle book, the Tilda one. Oh my goodness, guys, when am I going to get all these done? I don't know why my brain does that. I get so bored with doing the one. I have to go off and do another one, and then I have to go off and do another one. So what are we up to now? 11? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I've got another one inside, 12. And then I've still got this one. Lucky number 13. I've loved this one. I don't want to get this one put together. So this, and again, I've shown this before, but let's see if I've gotten anywhere. This is a piece of vintage fabric I bought from Sobe, from Beck, last year, around last June, the end of May, early June. I bought this to send my daughter for a birthday, but I fell in love with it, so I only sent a half. So this is the other half. I've put some Pellin on it, so I've got to quilt it yet. I'm thinking of using this as the lining. I bought this from Sobe as well. This is Full Bloom by Heather Bailey. So I think I might put this as the lining on this one. Then I've got, oh, these are pieces, they're just in here. These are pieces that came in one of the kits for the pinch pot as well. And this piece, oops, it all just slid off my lap. Bear with me for a moment while I pick it up. I'll get that bit later. Then I'm thinking of putting this as a page next. I don't think this will fit. This was going to be turned into a zippered pouch, this one. Then I've got, see, this is where I've gone off track again. I need to get more wool for this one. I've got this bit of Betsy that I thought would go in it because I'm trying to carry the neon through, see. I think this is the first piece of Betsy I've ever bought, and I'm in love with it. I want to get more. I wasn't going to get caught up in the Liberty, but yeah, I have. I've done it now. Got this other piece of Heather Bailey that will go with it. I'm carrying a bit of neon again. And this one is all because of something I bought when I was probably in my early 20s, maybe even younger. So this book is all going to be built around this little apron, wine bottle apron. Now I thought this was from the 70s. When I googled it, it's actually from the 30s. So I've got this little thing, and this whole needle book is built around this apron. There's a little, look how tiny the coasters are. Tiny little coasters, they're all in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I bought that at an op shop at St. Vinny's. It's not there anymore, at Burrigal. And I probably paid, back in those days, I had no money at all, like no money. I probably paid about 50 cents for it. I don't remember, but I wouldn't have paid much for it. But this one piece of neon pink wool that came from Thorpe's, I think. Or was it from Beck? Crikey, I can't remember now with the neon. I've cut that in half and sent my daughter half. These pieces came in the pinch pot kit from Beck as well, so I might try and get these into it somehow. Don't know yet. I bought this beautiful piece of, what's it called? Pure wool. 100% pure lamb's wool. I can't remember. This thread, that was from Sobe, from Beck. But then I have this neon as well. I have a neon green too in that one. Then I've just got other little bits I've pulled that might or might not go in it. I've got this little egg cover that I've had for a while now. That might go in it. I've pulled this bit of fabric, but I'm not sure why. This is another bit that came in one of those pinch pot kits from Beck. So I've put that in there for some reason. This is another bit. I must have just put bits together and they ended up in this bag, because I don't think these bits will go in this actual needlebook. These again came from the pinch pot kits. Another bit from the pinch pot kits. I'm just going to move those bits aside there. Those bits I like, they might work in here. This is another bit from the pinch pot kits. Potentially that might be able to go in. And these bits are from the pinch pot kits. They've got lovely stitch seams. So I've got those. Another bit from the pinch pot kits. Another bit from the pinch pot kits. And this is not from the pinch pot kits, I don't think. Oh, it might be. Looks like a bit that I might have had. What was that flash I just had come up? Anything important? Don't know. Just bits of, I think these came in the pinch pot kits too. Another bit with that lovely seam from the pinch pot kits. Then I've got these I bought. This is one of the first things I ever bought from CB. It was a scrap pack. So I've got this other bit of Betsy. This is all it was. There was another bit of Betsy. This, I believe, is a petite pan. Maybe. Might be wrong. This is another bit that came in the scrap pack. I don't know what that is. This is another bit from the scrap pack. I don't know what that is. It's a heavier cotton, that one. Another bit from the scrap pack. That feels like the Betsy. Same type of fabric. So that might be Liberty as far as I know, potentially. I don't know. I don't recognise that print. Again, I'm quite new to Liberty. These Liberties anyway. That's a cotton from the scrap pack. Another cotton from the scrap pack. I actually made myself a finger needle pin cushion out of some of that. Another bit from Sobe scrap pack. Another bit from the Sobe scrap pack. Another bit from the Sobe scrap pack. All these bits I'm showing you are from the Sobe scrap pack, okay? So I won't keep saying that. This bit. This bit. This bit. Obviously I've used some of that. I think that went into the pouch, the zippered pouch that I've been working on for the needle book. I think I've used a bit of that too. I like that one. I've used this in a few things. I think someone wanted some of this as well. That's all I've got. This is a mum and son, or a momson, I believe. A bead sack reproduction. I love that bit. A bit of Liberty. I can't remember that range. Someone will tell me, I'm sure. It's a cotton. It's stuck on the back. Oh, another bit of that star one. And then I believe this is Liberty as well. It's that really fine. What's it called? I can't remember. I've obviously used a bit of that in something. I can't remember what I used that in either. Another bit of Liberty. It's that beautiful soft fabric again. This little micro dot, isn't it sweet? I like that. This next bit's a bit cute. The theme sort of doesn't fit in with any of the other fabrics, but it's quite cute, I think. and then this one. So they're all from a So Be scrap pack that I bought a while ago, and I've got that in there mainly for that Betsy that goes with that neon Betsy I bought. So that's as far as I've gotten with that needlebook. That one I've come to a bit of a screaming halt because I think I need to get more. I need to get at least one more piece of felt for that, and I'm just not convinced the bits I've got to put in it are correct. I might have to wait until I find some more bits. So that was needlebook number 13, I believe. Again, I've got so much more to show you guys, but this is going to be another massively long video. What's in there? Some of my crochet cottons. I think I mentioned earlier I started sorting those out yesterday. I've got 2 tubs full of vintage crochet cottons. There's some laces that I've been working with. Oh, I could do those. I think I need to pack some of this away so we've got some room again. There's another one.